Happy Magical Monday. Had a little technical difficulties coming on, but I'm so excited to be here. Happy new moon, and we're just days away from the summer solstice. And so hello, I love you, and I can't wait to talk to you. So here we are. It is, to me, one of those most magical days. We had the new moon in Gemini yesterday, and I know a lot of people are feeling a lot of intensity today. I've heard everything from actually sort of breaking down to people breaking through to sleep, and even if they got a good night's sleep, still feeling tired today. So just be really, really gentle with yourself this week. It's intense, and it is all about finding that balance. Gemini is a season where we're in one extreme and then the other. And so it's all about finding that balance. And I heard this description of polarities today, which isn't about finding the center and staying balanced. It is about balancing when you are in one area and then knowing when you're moving toward the other area and balancing that. So it's really about harmony. It's really about coherence. It's really about finding your center and knowing that you can't stay in your center forever or always, but actually that it's really about bringing yourself back to your center. It's about calling yourself to your heart. It's about giving yourself a break, a little bit of break. And in that break, actually giving yourself a little bit of self-love. And there's no better time than that, than right now, is for self-love. We've got this summer solstice, which is happening on the 21st, Wednesday. Yesterday on Sunday, or if you're watching this maybe as a replay, it was Sunday, was the new moon. So this is a time of beginnings. There's no better time than right now. But what was interesting is that Saturn moved backwards into a retrograde motion just the day before. So we're in this sort of bigger picture review of our entire life. So with that bigger picture review, we're looking at who do we want to be, and what do we have to really do to claim that? What do we have to actually, the hard stuff, right? The hard stuff. And nobody's really going to get out of doing the hard stuff right now. Even I had a conversation this morning about where my resistance is and how I'm going to move through it and how I have to change my attitude, my own personal attitude adjustment about the things that I want to do. And it hit me really hard that I was willing to do for others what I wasn't willing to do for myself. And so the good news is that my heart isn't that hard. I've got over a lot of my really big hard stuff in life. And it might be worse news for other people that this new moon is about pushing through resistance and really claiming that next up level in a way very somatic, very real life. So sometimes new moons are in the mind's eye, and you would think with Gemini being an air sign that this would be a meditative new moon, but it is really about what kind of action steps are you going to take. When you feel resistance toward taking an action, I want you to say, what is one thing I could do toward that process, toward that end goal? And something else that I was reminded of today is your why. What is your why? Why is your why? So I actually had to reevaluate my why today, why I'm doing certain things. And I realized that it really wasn't a deep enough why. It's one of the reasons why I wasn't getting something. And keep in mind, this is something I actually do want. I didn't have a deep enough why. So I'm going to give Chris Richards some really big props, because he brought me to an understanding that I have overcorrected. In theta healing, we call this an undercurrent, where I had such a hard life at one point, and I had so many things that were out of my control and so many things that I didn't like. And I was living a hard life all the time. I was living a life that just didn't make me happy. I was absolutely downright miserable in my 30s. And not all of my 30s. Toward my late 30s, I was good. But there was a part of my early 30s where I just didn't have the confidence. And really even my late 20s, didn't have the confidence, didn't know who I was. I was anxious all the time. And I had to live that day in and day out. And maybe that's where you are right now. And the first thing that I will say about dealing with that and changing that in a way that is empowering is recognizing that you don't have to be unhappy. And if you're unhappy, there is another way. If it's pure anxiety, this is also another way is possible. So we do want to think about the fact that change may be difficult. Change may be not easy. But if you want something to be different, you cannot be the same. And that includes changing a bad behavior or a bad situation. But it also, and this is where I'm getting stuck right now, and maybe you're getting stuck too, it also is when you've, in my case, I've overcorrected and my life is kind of cushy right now. It is comfortable. It is happy. And the next up level means I have to get out of my comfort zone. And if I want something to change in an area of my life, I have to do things I haven't done before. I have to make time and commitment and follow my own heart in my why. And so this requires, and I've done this before, over the last 10 years, I've really mastered this up-level process, which I call releasing emotional hostages. And I had to figure out where my undercurrent was. And that's what Chris helped me do today. So in this case, I am deeply keeping myself from my next up level because I've promised myself my life doesn't have to be hard. And that still being said, sometimes if you want something, you have to put a little dedication in. And I got rid of the word discipline from my life a long time ago, because to me, discipline is painful, right? And I moved it to devotion. Anytime I feel like I have to put a little bit more effort into something, I call it devotion. But I didn't realize I was resisting this up level and not giving it the devotion that I deserve and you deserve. So keep in mind, when you want an up level, you deserve it. And our biggest resistance is in our own resistance to change. And for me, this is creating a new pattern that I want. And for you, this means looking at what do you really want, and what does that mean you might have to give up something. The law of sacrifice requires sometimes you give up time. So if you're trying to build something or gain something, maybe you have to get up earlier. Maybe you have to get up earlier to go to the gym or to meditate. And a lot of people really already know what it is they need to do. For me, consistency is key. And I've worked with 3 people since talking to Chris this morning, and we're all in the same place, which is, what do we have to do consistently that we know we have to do and we technically want to do, but we're in some form of resistance. So the action of resistance, when I shift it, is to make a sacred contract to myself and then follow through as devotion, because I am a goddess. And how would I treat the goddess? How would I treat Isis? How would I treat Christ? How would I treat a divine being coming into my home, being in my life, or even a client? How would I treat them? I would treat them with devotion, and I would set aside time, and I would set aside space, and I would give it a gift. And so when you're thinking of giving yourself a gift, think of it as a devotional act and giving yourself the follow through. I really admire people who train for marathons or meditate every single day or have a yoga practice. And this is the way my meditation practice is. It just became a non-negotiable years ago. And I spend time meditating every single day. I wouldn't even think to not meditate. It's kind of like brushing my teeth. I brush my teeth every single day. So of course, now after years of practicing, and I used all kinds of tools. I like the Streaks app. If there's anything you're trying to do consistently every day or every week or however often you want to do it, like drinking a gallon of water or whatever that thing is that you're in resistance of, keep in mind that it is super easy to just decide, make that choice. And new moon is all about that kind of choice point. You get a new beginning every new moon, every 28 days, you get a fresh start. And right now you have this beautiful, beautiful sky. You have this amazing solstice energy, which is ramping up. It's the full moon of the year, right? It's that total place where we have the equinox at the halfway mark, and then it comes to this summer solstice mark where we're at the peak. The sun is at its brightest. It is lighting up our lives, our hearts, our sky. So imagine that sun's ray is coming in through the top of your head. Imagine that it is lighting you up. It is regenerating your body. It is setting you up for a kickstart. It's like moving through you. It's washing away, cleansing, and removing anything that is no longer serving you and everything that is out of your path. And so feel that intrinsic nature. The energy right now is momentum. So once you've made the choice point, it is about making that momentum by doing it once and then thanking yourself for doing it the second day and gaining that growth, gaining that momentum, and allowing, choosing, and even gifting whatever it is that you're now becoming in alignment with. Once you get through the second, third, fourth day, now it's starting to feel aligned. Now it's starting to become a habit. And if you can get through the entire moon cycle, making a habit, 28 days, they say 21 days makes a habit. I feel like 90 days to 100 days makes it inevitable, makes it intrinsic for you. So make this your choice point. Think, okay, we start a new season. Wednesday's the first day of summer. This is the first full day. If you're watching this on Monday, and maybe if you're watching it on YouTube or somewhere else, it's a little later in the week, but you're saying to yourself, today is the day, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, not next year. New moon in Gemini is all about now, because there's one thing I know about Geminis. I've lived with them my whole life. my roommate in college, my current roommate, many other people in my life are Geminis, and I love you all. My Venus is in Gemini. But one thing about Geminis is you want it now. You don't want to wait. You need it, or you'll move on and move through and choose something else. So with Gemini, you have to be in the now. And so that creates coherence. That creates synergy. That creates momentum. So step by step, every single day and every single way, it gets easier and easier. And creating systems, creating places, like if you're wanting to meditate or go work out, creating a space that's sacred to do that, creating things that make it set up to be inevitable. That's really this week. And then there's this other energy of celebration. I really feel the energy of gratitude is the attitude right now. So one of the energies for this week's energy report is that of celebration, being it like this place of gratitude and celebrating the people around you and being in a little bit of a party. It's summertime in the Northern Hemisphere, so we're at this place of everything's going our way. And so celebrate yourself, celebrate your friends, celebrate your family. This is a perfect time, week, month to do that. And sort of the last thing I want to say about all of this today is to be easy on yourself. There's that place right now where if you want to forgive yourself, if you want to accept yourself, if you want to forgive and accept another person, there is true depth and momentum here and readiness for that. So there's a lot of good stuff happening right now astrologically. There's a lot of good energy. But if you feel tired, if you feel like you're slugging, give yourself ease. Give yourself permission to be at ease. Don't, however, let yourself off the hook. There is a difference between using your self-care as an excuse and using your self-care as a gift. So make sure that you are in that fine balance of Gemini, because they can swing both ways. The Gemini energy of all in, but not necessarily all into the same thing at the same time. So what we want to do is be in harmony. We want to be in coherence. We want to feel and remember who we are, where we're going, and what we're becoming in gratitude. And like I said, this is a great week for ritual. This is a great week for celebration. And as we move into the weekend, we do move into Cancer season, and then you're going to feel all the feels, all the emotion. So this is the best part of the week before you get into Cancer with this new moon in Gemini, to solidify your intentions and create the momentum before Cancer season if possible. So write out your wish lists. It is air magic, so because Gemini is air, it's great to use incense and sage with the summer solstice to clear your house, to maybe clear your energy field. Because we're moving into water, it's a nice time to go to an ocean, go to a lake, get yourself, your body, your life, your light all clear, because now is the time. I've said this, I've been saying this, it's going to be true for the next 50 years. Astrologically, we are in a literal ascension. The Schumann resonance is doing things it has never done before. And you may ask, what is the Schumann resonance? The Schumann resonance is where they're tracking the energy field of planet Earth. And it is literally off the charts right now. And that means that we are upgrading. We are getting light codes and ascension codes. And if you don't know what that is, essentially we are upgrading our physical bodies. We are upgrading into an ascending person. If you think about the fact that 50 years ago, when I was born 51 years ago, we were still using rotary dial phones and wires, and there was no such thing as a TV remote. So now we can literally call a car with our phone and talk like this all over the world. So that's what I mean by ascension. We are moving at a rate we don't even understand. Our physical bodies are changing, our minds are changing, and what I want you to do is to decide who you're becoming. Decide with your personal choice how you desire your life to look like, and start practicing that. And by practicing, that's with your eyes closed in meditation, feeling what it feels like to be the version of you that you can be, to be the version of you that you're becoming, what you desire, and get it so clear in your mind that it becomes your frequency. When you start working with frequency, everything else will start matching it. So the devotion and practice, when we call practicing with our mind's eye, we're really meditating on who and what we're becoming. You don't become a famous pianist without practicing. So whatever it is that you're becoming, you're practicing it in your mind's eye, you're seeing it, you're smelling it, you're feeling it, until it becomes inevitable that you are now taking the action. So we're back to that action step of who you are, who you're becoming is an easy transition, because in your mind's eye, you already know that you know that you know that you know that you already are, and that you have decided you're worthy, and decided you are good enough, and decided that you are going to devote your sacred commitment to the person you're becoming, instead of who you were told you were, who you're afraid of, but no, to who you decide to be, to that version of you that you're creating in your own field of reality. You're becoming more committed to your desire than to your resistance. That's the message today. Become more committed to your desire than to your resistance. And I'm going to be right there with you, because I'm putting some personal things into practice this week myself. So I'm not telling you anything to do that I'm not going to be right there in the trenches with you. I love you so much. And we're at the end of our time together today. There's just this much time. If you do want to get into the Red Rose Gate, we are starting in 30 minutes. So if you are watching this live and you haven't bought your ticket to Red Rose Gate, or if you are watching this on a replay, we start this week, so the replay will be fresh. And so you can still join this week. And after that, the Red Rose Gate will be closing its doors. And so one last chance to get in. And second, we did open the doors to the Summer Surrender event here in Orlando, Florida. We're going to host it at a beautiful new retreat center in Altamont Springs. Me, Leona, and Angela, and Marissa will be crafting a 2-day, 2-night retreat at the most beautiful retreat center. It has a pool, a beautiful yoga room, and we're going to have gorgeous food. And through that retreat, we're going to host things like ecstatic dance, gong ceremonies with singing bowls, and vocal toning, as well as art processes and crafting and body movement, body love. We're going to be going through the chakras. Yes, I know that sounds like a lot for just 2 days, but that's my point. It's going to be the most amazing retreat. It's been a long time coming, and it's a retreat I've been wanting to do for a long time, which means it's going to be full embodiment, letting go of that weight which we're carrying, and energetically stepping fully into your power. So we're doing that as an all women's residential, or you can even take a day trip if you live in Orlando, retreat on the weekend of August 12th. So if you're looking to do something in person, we only have so many spaces available. We've already been taking beautiful goddesses in. So sign up for that goddess retreat this week, and we'll have a lot of fun. So I hope you have an amazing midsummer, one of my favorite holidays of all time. Enjoy the fairies, enjoy the sunlight, enjoy the longest day of the year. In fact, all week you'll have long days. Get a little bit of vitamin sun, and also make sure you feed the fairies. Give them a little bit of sprinkling of some flowers, or some little bit of honey, or something to feed the fairies this week, and they will be kind to you. And in the meantime, live magically. I'll see you next week.